out-migration. So students, the coming of a person from a foreign land to live in a region means the in-migration. So migration of people in a particular region from outside region is known as in-migration. Now you can see that the people are coming. So, when people move into a region from outside for residence, it is called in-migration. And a person moving from a region to a foreign land is called out-migration. So, migration of people from a particular region to outside regions is known as out-migration. See, this is an out-migration. So, when people move out of a region for residential purpose, it is called out-migration. Now, in the case of migration, let us take the case of Mumbai. So, students, people from many villages from Maharashtra come to live in Mumbai, and so they in-migrate. So people from many villages from Maharashtra come to live in Mumbai, and so they in-migrate. So people move into a region from outside for residence is called in-migration, and people move out of a region, out to a region for residential purpose are called out-migration. So students, the birth rate, death rate, life expectancy and migration are the factors that affect the population growth. And so, population of any region constantly keeps changing due to these factors. And the difference between the birth rate and death rate is due to the natural change in population. So the difference between the birth rate and the death rate is clearly responsible for the natural changes in population. And also migration by individual or groups of people changes the population, right? So this means that migration does not keep the population of a region stable. And so similarly, the migration of an individual or a group constantly results in the change of population. So, what can we see here? So, we can see that people are migrating. And so, migration, this factor of population is constantly growing. And as we know, the population needs natural resources to satisfy their needs. Land, air, water, minerals, forests are limited in nature, right? We all know about this. So as the population grows, there is a need of these natural resources, which means that the natural resources of a region are insufficient to meet the needs of a growing population. And if population growth is controlled and limited, what will happen, students? People needs will meet without stress, right? People's needs are met without stress if the population growth is controlled and limited. So the unchecked growth of population puts pressure on the resources of a region. On the other hand, a controlled growth of population will lead to the availability of resources in the right proportion. So a controlled population is an indicator of the development of a region. So students, from all these we understood that the uncontrolled growth of population puts heavy pressure on the natural and man-made resources of a particular region, and the controlled growth of population is one of the indicator of the development of a region. Now let us try this. So first we have to take about 100 grains of black-eyed beans, that is chavli. Now first we have to scatter these beans on a square of 30 by 30 centimeter. Now we have to scatter 100 more beans on a square of 15 by 15 centimeter. Now scatter these beans. So students, while scattering the grains, we have to take care and see that the grains do not touch one another or pile up one on top of the other. So here, as you can see in this figure 7.1, which is there in your textbook. Now we have to answer the questions. So in which of the squares can the grains of chavli be easily scattered? So students, as we can see that the grains of chavli will be easily scattered in the square of 30 by 30 centimeters. Next, in which of the squares do the grains of chavli appear crowded? So in this, right? So we will write the grains of chavli appear crowded in the 15 by 15 centimeters square. Next, can there be a correlation between the distribution of chavli grains and the distribution of population in a region? So the answer will be what? The answer will be yes. And why yes, students? Because if there is less space, people, it will create lots of problem, right? And if there is more space and less population, then the people will live with no difficulties. Now, let us start with the distribution of population. So students, as we saw that when the grains of chavli are scattered over two areas of different sizes, in the large area, the distribution appears sparse, means small in quantity. So just as the seeds of chavli are scattered in two areas of different size, the distribution in the large area seems sparse, and in small size area, the distribution is what? It is dense. So students, the same way how the population of a region is scattered in that region, this is understood from the distribution of the population in that region. So similarly, we can understand the distribution of population in a region. So students, the nature of the region is not the same in all places. For example, some regions are mountainous while some are flat plains. And in some places there are mountains and in some plains. So there are harsh conditions at mountains, so there is less population there. While on flat plains, the life is pleasant. So due to easy accessibility, there is large population. And so students, geographical conditions vary. And as we learned that the geographical condition vary from region to region. And students, some regions are rich in resources while others have limited resources. We all know about this. So for example, the region of Western Maharashtra. Here, so the region of Western Maharashtra is rich in terms of soil, water, climate and land. So in this case, the population there is dense. So students, in areas with abundant resources, naturally the population is what? The population is more. And in these areas, there is dense population distribution. Then students, in the region like Vidarbha and Marathwada, where there is shortage of these elements, the population is sparse, which affect the distribution of population for the region. So in areas with scarce resources, unfavorable climate, undulating terrain, undulating means having a smoothly rising and falling form of or outline, etc. The population distribution is sparse. So in a region with abundant resources, the population is naturally more, and so the region is densely populated. So considering our country in the north, the natural resources of the northern plain and the Deccan Plateau are flat lands and abundant water. So lack of resources and unfavorable climate for human habitation or areas with high slopes have low population. So the distribution of population there is rare. For example, the weather in Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh in India is much colder. So the population is less. And in the state like Rajasthan, where the temperature is high and desert, so due to the scarcity of water, the distribution of population is sparse. Now let us look at the factors affecting population distribution. Okay, so first is what? Physical factor. In that we can see location, relief, climate, soil, mineral resources. How location, students? People are attracted towards the location where they have markets or where they have transport facilities. So location. Then relief such as mountains, plateau regions, plains. These also affect the population distribution. Then under climate it can be hot, cold. Then loose soil, sandy soil, fertile soil. So students, a region with advantageous factors will be more populated as compared to the disadvantageous one. Then the economic factors are agriculture, industry, urbanization, markets, then transport. Then political factors are what? Political instability, wars, then government policies. All these affect the population distribution. Now let us see these social factors. Race, religion, language, customs and traditions. So students, these social factors affect the population distribution. So students, the advantageous factors affecting population distribution are, we can say, availability of sufficient sunlight, clean air, water, then region with low altitude, moderate rainfall, then fertile soil, then we can say deposits of minerals, industrialization, urbanization, availability of transport facilities, availability of market, then political stability, then international peace, then suitable government policies, Then what else we can say? We can say favorable social customs and traditions. So all these are what? Advantageous factors affecting population distribution. And what are the disadvantageous factors? We can say shortage of sufficient sunlight, clean air and water, then region with high altitude, then extremely less or more rainfall and temperature, then infertile soil, scarcity of minerals, low industrialization, lack of urbanization, then here non-availability of transportation facilities, non-availability of market, then wars, then unfavorable government policies, evil social custom and tradition. So these are the list of disadvantageous factors affecting population distribution. So students, in this way we can prepare a list of advantageous and disadvantageous factors affecting population distribution.